Hola amores, welcome back to my channel. It is your girl Christina, aka tu vecina favorita que maquilla. And if this is your first time here, bienvenidos. So if you guys are new to my channel, I mainly do makeup videos, but I also do, some chit chat type of videos like this one every now and then. So for those of you that have been following my channel for some time now and have listened to these chatty type of videos that I do, you know that I'm very much about, spreading positivity. I don't like to talk negative about anyone, regardless of, your culture, your race, what group you're from. I don't believe that you need to, put others down in order to uplift yourself or your people. So, I'm very much about showing like understanding and compassion towards other people, but also about uplifting, my people. So if you don't already know, my background is Dominican. I'm American born. I was born here in the US, but my parents, my culture that I identify with is Dominican. So especially when it comes to that, and considering, just the negativity that's always surrounding Dominican people on social media, it's something that is very important for me. Even as just a small, tiny channel on here, I feel like if there's anything that I can do or say to kind of help change that narrative around Dominican people into something more positive, then I will do that. So that is why I make videos sometimes speaking on, things pertaining to Dominican people, just to help, bring more understanding out there about us and, just things like that. So anyway, the topic of today's video. This video is about helping to spread self-love into all Latin American people. And I also want to say, if you're not Latino or Latina, you can definitely still watch this video, because at the end of the day, most of what I say can probably pertain to you as well. So one thing that I really love about Latin American culture as a whole is the diversity. You can be the whitest of whites all the way to the blackest of black and everything in between and still be 100% Latino. That is something that I really love about us. Latin America is host to so many different cultures, to so many different nationalities. Overall, we're just a big mix of, Native American indigenous cultures, of European cultures, and of African cultures as well. So, and I just really love how, every country has like its own accents, its own traditional dances and music and cuisine. And as much as, every Latin American country is distinct from each other, at the end of the day, I feel like a lot of us are able to, kind of feel a sense of unity in the fact that we are all Latinos, So that is something that I really appreciate. But, because of, things that have happened historically and, particular mindsets that have kind of endured throughout history, there are some things that, have kind of caused, different groups of people to have certain complexes or to feel a certain way about themselves. And I think probably one of the, if not the top thing to cause a lot of these types of feelings is colorism, which is no doubt an issue throughout much of Latin America. And, it's not just, la morenita and la negrita that kind of go through these type of things. Believe it or not, la blanquitas sometimes too face their own struggles, which I'll touch on later in the video. But I just want to first start off by saying, because when we speak on the topic of colorism, it usually focuses more on the, darker skinned Latinos. As far as speaking of colorism in the Latin American community, it's usually more directed towards, us darker skinned ones. And, we deal with things like, being questioned of our Latinidad, especially here in the United States. That's something I've definitely experienced. People see your dark skin and they question, are you really Latino? Or they make you speak Spanish in order to like prove that you're really Latino or Latina, And then so we have, on the one hand, we're dealing with that. And then on the other hand, we deal with comparing ourselves to the image of the typical Latina that we see in the media, which for the most part is our, lighter skinned, more mestizo looking counterparts. So it's like, for some, it may make you question, like, am I going to be deemed as attractive as this lighter Latina? Are people going to accept me as a Latina? Are people still going to think that I am a beautiful Latina? Will other Latinos find me attractive? So, you find yourself comparing yourself to these other women. And I just want to say to my morenitas, to my negritas, your melanin should never take away from your Latinidad. Because at the end of the day, you can be any color, you can be any race, and still be Latina. So I just want to say, your melanin is beautiful. Black is beautiful. Don't ever be ashamed of your melanin. I feel like there is beauty in all skin colors. And, us darker skinned Latinas are by no means excluded from that. At the end of the day, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And though we may not realize it, I think a lot more people appreciate, the richer, darker, more chocolatey skin colors than we actually realize. And side note, kind of going off on a tangent here, but I always got to bring it back to my Dominicans. As much as people always hate on us and say that we hate being Black or that we don't want to be Black and, stuff like that. Granted, every group has its bad apples, but for the most part, we don't all think that way. And, it's very interesting because if you listen to Dominican music, even going back to like old school bachata or even some merengue, one thing that I've always noticed, and I peeped this a long time ago, is when these male musicians, whenever they speak of their love interest in the way they characterize her, they always sing about La Negra. They mention La Negra, esa morena. Like, they're always kind of glorifying, the tan to darker skinned women. So it's like, our men been know we were popping, So I don't know. I just find that, just interesting. Like, people kind of seem to forget or miss that point. Like, Black is something that has been beautiful to a lot of us. I mean, granted, that's not the narrative that gets, pushed when it comes to Dominican people. If anything, you're always hearing the opposite, that we hate our Blackness and things like that. But in reality, a lot of, Dominican people, they do find beauty in our dark skin, for those of us that have darker skin. So again, to my darker skinned Latinas, you are not any less Latina than any white Latina. You are not any less beautiful. So take pride in your melanin. That's all I can really say about that. But when it comes to colorism though, or not just colorism, just feeling a certain type of way about your skin color, we don't usually focus too much on our lighter counterparts. And I have read comments from, especially like pale Latinas, that they too kind of get told or questioned about really being Latina because they are so pale, or they may be those Latinos with, blonde hair and blue eyes, the type of looks that are more associated with, like, I guess, Northern European type of groups. So they're not the typical, tanner, like dark-haired Europeans or Southern Europeans that people usually associate with Latin Americans, but they look very Anglo. And so, they get questioned too. And, something that I've been seeing more recently, and again, nobody really talks about this a whole lot. At least I haven't seen it spoken about too much. But something I've seen recently, just from comments by other YouTubers or other like light-skinned or white Latinas, is how they feel that they're kind of being pushed to be like ashamed of their European ancestry, and some of these comments I've seen under like ancestry DNA videos, because you know those ancestry videos, they always get the most crazy comments and stuff. And from what I've seen, these Latinas, you know, they're obviously predominantly European, but they also have like some African and some Native in there, and they were very proud actually of their African, you know, and Native ancestry. But it's like they have this whole chunk of European, like 60-70% European, and some of them were commenting stuff like they felt like if they actually showed pride in their European heritages, that they might get attacked because of the whole, you know, at the end of the day, the main introduction of European ancestry into Latin America, it did begin with colonization. I mean, you can't dismiss that. And I'm not in any way trying to downplay the severity of what that was. However, I think people also forget that, you know, even after slavery ended, there were in fact many European immigrants that came to Latin America in the 1800s and even into the 1900s. A lot of them were, you know, poor Europeans looking to start new lives in the Americas. I know in DR, for example, there were multiple waves of European immigrants that came to the island in the 19th and 20th century. My great-grandparents included. My mother's grandparents on her father's side were both Spaniards that moved to the Dominican Republic and had my grandfather and all his siblings in the country. So they were obviously not slave owners by any means, you know, so, and I would never be ashamed of them. You know, my grandfather, who was, again, basically a Spaniard born in DR, you know, he had 3 wives, because, you know, mi abuela no era fácil, okay? He was a little playboy. But had 3 wives, 2 of which were beautiful, chocolatey Dominicans, and here I am. So, you know, on the other hand, I don't feel like it's right to do that either. I don't feel that we should be shaming anyone from Latin America, whether they are predominantly European or whether European is what they're least mixed with. I don't feel like it's right to try and shame anyone at the end of the day. So, you know, to my, you know, blanquitas, you know, my more lighter skinned Latinas, I just want to say, I don't feel that you should be ashamed. Don't be ashamed of your heritage. At the end of the day, part of being, you know, Latino or Latina is being proud of all of our heritages, you know? So, and that brings me to another point. Like, I know a big movement right now within Latin people is being, you know, pro-Black or claiming, you know, to be Afro-Latino, which that term in and of itself is very controversial, but I can respect it because at the core of that movement, I know it's about celebrating African heritage, which for many Latin Americans has kind of it's just never been as celebrated as our European and Native heritages. So I know that's really what it's about, you know, just celebrating that Blackness that for, you know, a long time was kind of, you know, tucked away a little bit. And so I just want to say, you can be pro-Black without being anti-white. You say that again. You can be pro-Black without being anti-white. Okay? If you are a Black person within the Latin American community that wants to celebrate and uplift our African heritages, you can do that without you know, shaming or trying to bring down our European heritage. Because that, again, though ultimately it started with colonization, there was also many Europeans that came to Latin America that were not slave owners at all. They were not part of colonization, etc., etc. You guys get what I'm trying to say. So to you guys, my blanquitas, again, you are also beautiful. Don't be ashamed of your whiteness. You know, as long as it's never trying to uplift your whiteness while you know, bringing down the black side, I don't see any problem with it. You know, like I said earlier, at the end of the day, there is beauty in all of us. Whether you have silky straight hair, curly hair, kinky 4C type hair, whether you have a slim nose, broad nose, pale skin, super dark skin, whether you're thin, thick, and curvy, at the end of the day, it's all beautiful. And that is what makes us Latinos and Latinas beautiful, because we have this diversity, because we can look like people from basically all over the world, yet still share this Latin American culture which unifies us, you know? So, again, the point of this video is just to, again, just love yourself. At the end of the day, love yourself. No matter what you look like, take pride in what you are and how you look. And at the same time, show respect and love to other people. You know, if you're a blanquita, show love to us morenitas too. If you're a morenita, show love to our lighter skinned, you know, blanquitas. You know, we're all in this together, guys, at the end of the day. You know, there is no need to, I don't know, try to separate ourselves or act like one is better than the other. You shouldn't feel like you are better than another, and you also shouldn't feel like you are inferior to another. You know what I mean? Yes. My daughter's here, guys. Hey, don't be stepping on my makeup. So anyways, I hope you all like this video. And also, I just wanted to say, I know a few of you have been saying that you guys really like when I speak on culture and stuff like that, or just any of my chatty type of videos. Yeah. So, if there's any specific topic you guys would like to see me talk about, let me know. You know, one thing for sure is I like to be interactive with my subscribers. You know, I always like to like your comments and, you know, comment back. So, again, if there's anything you guys want me to talk about, let me know and I'll make a video about it. So, anywho, los quiero mucho and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!